A girl woke up to find something disgusting shoved in her mouth. She instinctively reached up to touch it, but a collar was locked tight around her neck. Yoga looked around in terror. Across from her crouched another woman in the exact same situation. But Crystal wasn't nearly as panicked. Instead, she removed a pin from her name tag, rubbed it against her hair to create static electricity, placed a leaf in water, and easily figured out which direction they were facing. When they reached an open clearing, they discovered it wasn't just women with collars in their mouths. Men had them too. In the middle of the lawn sat a wooden crate. Some guy in a hat walked up to it without thinking twice and grabbed a crowbar nearby. Just as he was about to pry it open, an older man behind him warned that it might be a trap. But because of the gag in his mouth, he couldn't make out what the old man said, so he turned back and kept working on the crate. The old man took one look and bolted. Yoga followed and hid behind a large tree. The moment the crate opened, everyone held their breath, half expecting some monster to devour the guy. But what walked out was a perfectly dressed Peppa Pig. The absurdity of it made everyone breathe a sigh of relief. Only the guy in the hat, standing closest, could see there was something else inside. Everyone tensed up again. He slowly reached into the crate and felt around until his hand found a handle. Inside was an entire arsenal of weapons and gear. Everyone rushed toward it, except Yoga, who noticed a paper bag nearby with a key inside. Hey! She called out to Trucker and actually managed to unlock her collar. Working together, they freed themselves and started dividing up the weapons.
That almost hit me.
Who would have thought such a beautiful girl would only last 3 minutes before getting killed? Trucker didn't stick around. He immediately repositioned. Another woman was still hiding in the crate, and she pointed toward a bunker across the field. That's when Trucker finally spotted the enemy. But then some guy charged in with dual Gatling guns blazing. Seeing that, the woman ran in the opposite direction. Miraculously, the bullets missed her. She was just about to reach the tree line. Just when Trucker thought she'd been killed too. Turns out Trucker wasn't the main character either. The remaining survivors made a desperate dash for the forest, but an iron fence blocked their path. They stripped off their clothes to pad the barbed wire and started climbing. When only one old man was left, a volley of arrows came flying.
No!
The old man gave up on escaping and raised his pistol to fight back. The other three turned and ran. He kept firing wildly while stumbling around. A wave of arrows sailed over his head, but he didn't flinch. One by one, the prey kept dying. So who exactly was the main character? Once inside, Staten nervously searched the place. After confirming only a terrified elderly couple was there, the group finally let their guard down. They barricaded the door with shelves, then asked about the area. The woman running the store said it was a small island that rarely got visitors. Staten borrowed their phone and actually got through to the police. He had no idea where he was, so he just asked them to trace the number. The person on the other end agreed immediately, which actually made Staten suspicious. Since when were cops this accommodating? The three thought rescue was on its way. One woman even relaxed enough to start eating. But the next second, she looked like she was choking. Her face grew pale and she collapsed, foaming at the mouth. That's when they realized she'd been poisoned, but it was too late. The elderly couple put on gas masks and tossed out a canister of poison gas. They were hunters too. Just to make sure the other one was dead, they kicked the canister right in front of the man so he could get a good lungful. The woman then tidied up the scattered merchandise and turned on the exhaust fan. After cleaning up the bodies, everything looked normal again, ready for the next round of hunting. Then a voice came through on their radio. A fellow hunter said a target was approaching. The woman stood by the window watching, and when she saw someone coming, she slipped back into her innocent shopkeeper act. Crystal walked in without any panic and asked for a pack of cigarettes. She even pulled a $100 bill from her pants leg. While the woman was making change, the man had already quietly grabbed his shotgun. But the change tipped Crystal off. It was $1 short. She became the first prey to turn the tables on the hunters. Crystal calmly opened the cigarette pack. It was empty. She also found 3 fresh bodies in the storage room. That confirmed her suspicions. Crystal geared up, took off her jacket, grabbed the shotgun, and walked out. A truck was parked right outside. As she was about to drive off, she noticed a wire attached to the door handle, connected to a bomb. The radio crackled with one of the hunters asking for a status update. Crystal got down in the grass and waited. Her instincts and judgment were razor sharp. Before long, a drone flew overhead. The person operating it didn't even get a clear view inside before someone shot it down. Crystal went on high alert. Whoever was on that radio definitely knew something had gone wrong by now. The guy who fired the shot emerged. He had his eye on the truck too, and was about to get himself blown up. Crystal stood up and warned him about the bomb underneath. The man lowered his rifle. To cover their tracks, they headed for the railroad on foot. Following the tracks was their best shot at escape. As they walked, they heard a rumbling sound. Crystal knew a train was coming. They planned to jump on when it slowed down for a turn. Despite being a woman, Crystal was just as fast. She jumped on first and pulled the heavy-set man up behind her. Then they heard noise from the front of the car. A group of migrants was hiding inside. They were speaking some foreign language neither could understand, but the man didn't trust them. An open car with refugees inside? Too convenient. He gave them 3 seconds to come clean, but then the train suddenly stopped. They'd hit a border patrol checkpoint. With dogs barking, everyone had no choice but to get off the train. The man figured since he was American, he'd ask the officer to take him back. He even mentioned being hunted, but because of the language barrier, the soldier ignored him completely. The migrants walked up too. This threw the man for a loop. He knew these refugees were hunters, but calling them out could get everyone killed. The migrant even promised that if he stayed quiet, they'd give the two of them a head start before the chase resumed. Who could put up with that? Negotiate with him before killing him. The man lunged. A grenade fell out of the refugee's backpack. He grabbed it and shoved it right into the guy's pants. Everyone scrambled. After all that chaos, Crystal and the other refugees were locked up. This was a refugee detention center. Crystal was brought before the commanding officer. She had no passport, so she just explained what had happened. A white-haired old man had arrived before her, but when they mentioned the hunt, the officer dismissed them both as crazy. Soon, a special envoy from the embassy arrived. Dawn told him everything. The two kept rambling, but Crystal hadn't said a word the entire time. She quietly grabbed a nearby handle and lifted both feet. But she didn't escape right away. Instead, she reversed and ran the car over the envoy's head. Then she took his gun. When she opened the trunk, there was the dead body of the heavy-set man. A woman's intuition is terrifying. From the conversation earlier, she'd already picked up that the man was a fake embassy official. She found a map in the car, clearly marking the hunter's hideout. Dawn urged Crystal to escape while she could, but she refused. Anyone who dared to mess with her was going to pay. Following the map, the two quietly made their way back to the clearing.
Hey, bitch.
Crystal clearly had training. She used the stairwell corner for cover and scattered the group. After all, these were just bored rich people with nothing better to do. Throwing Crystal in there was like tossing a wolf into a sheep pen. She pressed against the wall, watching their movements. A man was creeping closer. Then an arrow flew at her, shot by another woman, who looked so frantic Crystal almost laughed. After dealing with her, Crystal scanned the area. The last person had a submachine gun right in front of him, but he was a second too slow. Everyone in the bunker was dead. Crystal grabbed a sniper rifle. The guy she'd shot earlier was hobbling away. She wiped out the entire hideout. Gun in hand, Crystal was about to leave when she was suddenly attacked. The guy from before wasn't quite dead yet. Crystal picked up her gun, ready to interrogate him about who was behind all this. Dawn came down too, but the woman refused to say a word. Then a voice came through the radio, and they called the old man by name. He was a hunter too. Crystal raised her gun instantly. After eliminating every threat, Crystal sent a message through the radio.
Then I guess you better come and get me.
Hearing Athena's taunt pushed Crystal to her breaking point. She walked over to the man. He was a consultant the wealthy had hired. Crystal had her own frustrations from everyday life. This hunt had become her outlet. When he refused to give up Athena's location, she pressed down on his wound. A few rich amateurs trained by one security guard had just picked a fight with a combat veteran. Crystal quietly approached the estate. What she didn't know was that Athena was watching her every move. Athena was clearly confident too. She wanted a face-to-face showdown. Crystal did as instructed and left her gun in the mailbox. The gates slowly opened. Athena confidently prepared breakfast. She was the mastermind behind everything. She knew the background of every target. They were all nobodies from the bottom of society with no family, but she'd misjudged Crystal. The target she was looking for came from the same place as Crystal, but their names were one letter apart. That mistake was what led her to drag a battlefield wolf into a pen full of sheep. Crystal grabbed the knife first, but Athena was no slouch either. Even with just 8 months of training, her close combat skills were nearly on par with Crystal's. One hard fall made Athena hesitate. She backed away slowly, then suddenly pulled a shotgun from her bag. That wasn't exactly playing fair. Crystal turned and ran. When Athena stopped to reload, Crystal charged back in. That exchange nearly cost Crystal half her life. Athena picked up a knife again and drove it into Crystal's side, but Crystal didn't stop. When they hit the ground again, Athena found a meat slicer blade nearby. She slashed Crystal once more. Those 2 blows left Crystal barely able to fight. Athena kept slamming into her stomach. Then Crystal suddenly grabbed Athena's leg. It was a brutal move. Hurt the enemy, hurt yourself. Without giving Athena a chance to breathe, she lunged again. When they separated, the blade was lodged in Athena's stomach. She slowly went still. Finally, Crystal lifted her shirt, grabbed a blowtorch, and cauterized her wound right there. When it was done, she changed into clean clothes and became the new master of the estate. This movie is seriously entertaining, an absolute thrill ride. Halfway through, I still couldn't figure out who the main character was. And honestly, just for Crystal's looks and physique alone, it's worth checking out the original film.